you have to leave the Zoom, you can still join us live on YouTube. So we're going to get a little bit of feedback from that for a moment. And you have to leave the Zoom, you can still, there you go. So now you can watch on the YouTube channel anytime that you wish to. Also, I'd love to take you, if you want to volunteer, you can volunteer and you can be part of this as someone we work on for the heart. We'll talk all about the heart. So let's also go ahead and record this. All right, just one more adjustment here. Fun life of Zoom, where we have to sort of do this. Okay, a warm welcome to everyone. Thank you for being here. All right, this is Dr. Ariel Policano, and I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I teach and train about the Genius Biofeedback system. You can always get in touch with me at ariel@geniusbiofeedback.com. What we really seek to do is to, each and every week, we give a free live training. We want to answer your questions. We want to support you in any way we can, and we also want to cover topics that are relevant that help you to utilize your genius in a more effective way. So I'm really appreciative of you taking some time to spend with us, and we're going to answer all of your questions. We're also going to take some volunteers. I just want to talk about the heart a little bit from my naturopathic training. Those of you who don't know, I went to a 4-year medical college, which is called a naturopathic college. It's the National University of Natural Medicine. They teach naturopathic doctors, which will learn all of what doctors learn about, but we spend a lot more of our time studying physiology and learning more how to take a deep dive to correcting physiology with herbs, homeopathy, nutrition, exercise, manipulation of the spine. We spend time on that because we don't have to spend as much time on pharmacology. So in the 4-year medical college, I have to spend a lot of time on pharmacology, interactions, and so forth. As a naturopathic doctor, we spend a lot more time on physiology, understanding the underpinnings of the actual way the body works. So to that effect, we have done a class called Natural Health Mastery. I'm bringing back some excerpts from Natural Health Mastery to invite you to check out our practitioner program, which goes through all aspects of natural health. So if you're interested in natural health and it's something that you want to know more about, and you thought to yourself, I wish that I would have gone to naturopathic school, or I wish I could have studied this, you can get that benefit by studying our practitioner program. Our practitioner program goes through adrenals, thyroid, heart health, hormones, all of the different functions of the body, immunity, autoimmunity, diabetes, blood sugar, metabolic syndrome, all of those things, to understand them from the point of not needing a medical education to understand what these are and how they work. So if that's something that interests you, check out our practitioner levels 1 through 8, or you could just check out individual topics that you're interested in. If you go to geniusbiofeedback.com and click on the practitioner program, we are holding over the price changes for just 1 more week. We've had really held it over for a long time, a break in the pricing on the practitioner program. So if you are interested, check those out, geniusbiofeedback.com. I want to talk to you now about the heart, because anytime I explain something about how the heart works, it's going to give you some ideas about how you can work with your genius. So in and working with the genius, you can work on different heart frequencies. You can work on the frequencies of the heart and circulatory system from body systems and today's stress. There are herbs within the program like hawthorn and other herbs that can be beneficial for the heart. You could work with magnesium, which is an incredible mineral for heart health. You can work with different types of remedies that can help the heart. There are many things within the genius system overview, like the toroids and sacred geometry, and all of these things can come together to work on harmonization frequencies for the heart, and including the solfeggios too, right? 528 hertz is that magical number of the heart. So we'll talk about all of this. What is the heart? We want to ask that question. We'll talk about some libraries that we have as well for the heart. So when you think about the heart, what do you think about? And it's interesting that until I started my medical career, I really didn't have any idea how the physiology in my body worked. And that's what we really give you in that practitioner program is, gosh, what's the manual to all of this? How does it all work? So what is the heart? The heart is a pump. What is it made out of? It's made of 4 different chambers, and the 4 different chambers work in perfect rhythmicity to be able to collect blood and build pressure, and then release blood to be circulated around the body. And when everything works perfectly well, then all of your cells receive all the oxygen and nutrition that they need. But if anything goes awry, whether it's an immediate event or something happening over time, you're not getting the right oxygen delivered to your fingertips or your toes or your brain, and all of these things erode functionality over time. So when we're not getting oxygen, we're not getting blood to a certain place. Blood delivers oxygen and nutrition. So if there are any blockages to flow, that really results in the deterioration of health, well-being, and even cognitive function, because we're not getting oxygen and nutrition to the brain. Even if you become an expert in our physiological function of the heart, you know all the chambers, how the valves close, and then blood pressure builds, and then eventually it overcomes the pressure in the heart to open up the valves and allow the blood to be circulated around the heart. Even if you understand that function, you really don't understand the full complexities of the heart from an energetic perspective. And as a Genius Energy practitioner, you probably will understand this better than other people. Okay. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit better. I think I know what the issue is. So let me know if my sound has improved a little bit. Let's go ahead and see what is in the chat here. Okay, give me a little bit of a sound check and just let me know that the sound is okay. Oh, we got a lot of heart issues to talk about. It'll be great. Okay, so now I think the sound is adjusted and you're doing okay with the sound. Let me just make sure we're on the same planet here. Okay, great. Okay, sound is good then. All right, so let's keep this energy rolling. So as a sound is better. Thank you so much. Sound is great. Yeah, this should be a little bit better. Okay, so we don't have a handout right now. We're just going to have these slides. And so just receive the slides as they're going. There's no handout or link for right now. Okay, back to the heart. But the heart could not possibly only work as a pump. The heart is so much more. The heart is in large part energetics, and it is an electrical system is part of what is happening, but it is also a vortices system. There's a system of energetic vortices all over the body that energetically make it possible for the blood to flow around the body. There's no physiological explanation about how this tiny little pump could actually send all of these fluids around the body. It turns out, if you study physics, this isn't quite how it's happening. So let's talk about it from somebody like yourself, who's an energy practitioner, who analyzes, looks at and thinks about energy. This explanation and deepened understanding of the heart will make much more sense. So let's go ahead and talk about the energetics. So we know that we've just talked about the heart as a pump, but the heart is much more. So first of all, there's a field around your heart called the toroidal field, which is much greater than the field around your brain. If you recall, the Egyptians, when they would bury someone and make sure that all their effects are with them, you know, for the next life or the next part of the journey, they kept the heart, they discarded the brain. The brain had no function on the next part of their journey in the afterworld or onto their next life. And the greatest electrical field by far is around your heart. And you can do different things to maximize that energy and to maximize the results of that field. It's really a manifestational field. So when you think about things that you want to manifest, abundance, a new career, a great relationship, it's important that we put our focus around the heart itself. And that is where the manifestation originates from. That's where it comes from, because you can really increase that intention by increasing or focusing on that toroidal energy. As you're doing that, you could take the toroid's frequency, place it up in the QuickSap, and just continue to run that as you think about your manifestation, what you want to manifest. And these are much more effective manifestations than only manifesting from our head. Oh, I want a good job to pay those bills. Manifest from your heart. It'll be much more satisfying. It will be much more long lasting. So the heart is surrounded by a toroidal field. This is a field that even Da Vinci wrote about, and you can see it in some of his drawings. He wrote about the field, but he also wrote about the vortex system. So the heart is a series of vortices. You can also read about the perspective of the heart in anthroposophical medicine. So in terms of capillary flow, the heart is forcing blood with a viscosity of 5 times greater than water through millions of capillaries with diameters often smaller than the red blood vessels themselves. Is this possible because of a pump that sits in the middle of your chest? It's not possible. It's something beyond that. And so the circulatory system is really a system of vortices. If you've ever seen the vortex energy of water and thought about it, that's how all of the blood and really the vitality of our body is functioning with all of this flow. And so immediately you could think of things like Qigong and Tai Chi and acupuncture, moving the meridians, and how effective they are at also increasing our overall circulation, which is the result of heart function. So the blood has its own biological momentum, which is boosted by the heart. So it's really interesting. The heart is not irrelevant, but it's not the whole story. So we need to bring everything together holistically and think about the whole picture. The heart's electrical field is about 60 times greater than in amplitude than the electrical activity surrounded by the brain. Right? Magnetic fields produced by the heart are more than 5,000 times greater than the field generated by the brain. Now, coming back and bringing it back to the 3D reality, let's talk about the heart. And many of you have medical questions and things that you've dealt with in your family, people who have heart issues. So let's we're going to come back around. I want you just to have in your mind, thinking about the vortices now, the electrical field. It means that certain actions that you take to redirect the energy, which is connecting to your heart or doing certain movements, can indeed help the circulatory system in ways that we've never thought about. But let's just talk about what's happening in the heart physiologically from a doctor's perspective. The heart itself, why is the heart there? So the heart is receiving deoxygenated blood constantly from your lungs, right? Which have to pick it up and reoxygenate it. So it sends blood from the heart to the lungs to pick up oxygen. And then it also receives the oxygenated blood back from the heart and now has to move it around the body. So to do that, it does that through a series of filling and emptying. The blood returns from the lungs and it enters the heart, and then it builds in pressure, or blood that needs to be sent to the lungs comes into the heart. And then also on both sides of the heart, it builds in pressure and then sends it to the location that it needs to go to. So the heart is going to fill with the blood that's going to need to be moved. And as it does, a series of valves close. So if you've ever heard the heart, the lub-dub of the heart and wondered what it is, why does the heart go boom, 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 boom? Very interestingly enough, it's not that the heart is beating per se, like movement, but you're actually hearing the sound of the valves close. So the heart fills with the blood that needs to be transported, and then the valves go close, close. 2 different sets of valves close, 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 and then rest. As the heart builds with pressure, it overcomes the closed valves and then it pushes them open and then circulates the blood around the heart. And one thing, if you ever listen to your own heartbeat or even focus on it, listen to it, know it, listen to maybe an audio of a heartbeat. The most significant portion of the heartbeat is the resting part sort of like this 0 point energy. You've got boom, boom, the two valves close, and then this rest in between. So it's an interesting process. It's the heart valves are closing, and then they're building pressure, and then they open and release, and then there's a little bit of a resting space. So the rest part of the heart is very significant. So now in this picture, we're looking at the different chambers of the heart, and we're looking at some of the electrical patches around the heart, all of the electrical flow, and then they're also showing you some of the valves. So if you have a valve that is not working correctly, then it leads to not having good perfusion or blood flow around the heart, because the valves have to be nice and tight to allow the pressure to build in the heart. So the heart is located between the lungs. Why? Because the lungs are reoxygenating all of the blood. We want it in close proximity so we can send that blood back to the heart to then be circulated around the rest of the body. So some other just really interesting things. Just think about everything in the body is related to blood flow, every function. The key to a long life is really having the best perfusion through your vessels that you can get. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit more. So the heart beats 100,000 times a day, which is unbelievable. It pushes 5,000 gallons of blood through the body every 24 hours. And we're not going to go through too much more of the physiology. I just want to point out a few things. And that is, we have the layers of the heart, the muscular layer of the heart. But the most important one to think about when we talk about heart issues is the endothelium. So the inside layer of the heart protects the valves and the chambers, but that's the endocardium. And then the endocardium leads into the endothelium, which is the inside layer of all the vessels. And that is where a lot of heart disease starts. So the endothelium of the blood vessels can be damaged through oxidative damage, alcohol, different toxins and poisons. And that is where we can get little scratches to the side of the vessel that can build up plaque and lead to a blockage of a vessel. So those are all things to sort of think about as we talk more about the heart. We're going to skip some of this information. This is more that's in that heart class. And I'll continue my ideas and concepts about the heart as we get into some real life scans. So once again, if you'd like to volunteer sort of with that introduction, that heart is electrical, heart is vortex, and heart is pump. And that oxygen flow to the cells is absolutely crucial for staying young and feeling good. So we're going to bring the genius up here, and we're going to work from the volunteers and talk about the different aspects of system overview that can be used for harmonizing the heart. And then we'll talk about some of the libraries that can be useful as well. So let's go ahead and take those volunteers. Thanks for joining today. You can also ask any questions that you want about your genius. What questions do you have? What functions or things do you want us to look at? This is an opportunity for you to get your questions answered. As we go through the different folks we're working with, we can stop in, talk about certain functions you may have questions about, or maybe it's the trays. Let's talk about your questions. Thank you to everyone who participated last week in the trivia contest. It was great fun. We'll definitely do it again. And congratulations to the winners. We've sent off your imprinter kit, as well as anyone who ordered an imprinter kit. We are getting those out as well. I think you're going to have some fun working with them and making the different things with the Remedy imprinter kit. And everyone can create and make things with the imprinter kit. So let's now go to some of our volunteers, or with anything with their Remedy plate. And let's see, we've got some, what frequencies would you use for endocarditis? Sophie says the heart is the center of the biofield. Okay, so let's see if we have some volunteers of anybody who wants to. So Marie says, I've got a heart problem. So Marie, are you on with us? Let's get someone who's on with us live right now. All right, so Loida, let's go ahead and we'll talk with you this morning. Loida, how are you? I hope you're doing very, very well. So Louita, just go ahead, do me a favor and find your microphone, find your camera, make sure that you can join us. And we're going to go ahead and get you up here in just a moment. All right, and thank you to everyone. We appreciate you being here. And ask your questions, any questions about the Genius or topics you'd like us to cover in the weekly class. You can go ahead and let us know in the chat. Just keep it to different topics related to the Genius. We really appreciate that. So let's go ahead and see if we can talk with Louita and invite her up here. So Louita, you've got two different logins here. So not sure why that is, but we'll try one. So Louita, we're trying to unmute you. Let's go ahead and see if we can talk with you. We can cover all things about the heart. We can cover the circulatory system. We can cover the inner layers of the heart. We can cover the valves. Let's go ahead one more time. So let's go ahead and see. Louita, are you joining us live or do we need to go to another person? Let's go ahead and see. And we may need to just go to another volunteer. So let's see if we can get someone else who has volunteered, who really wants to be worked on today. And all right, so were we successful in getting you to join? Let's just try one more time. Louita, let's try one more time. So Louita, are you there? Okay, Louita, are you there? Okay, Louita, it sounds like you're there now. Can you hear me? Okay, so we're just going to switch over. Let's try another person. So if you do volunteer, sort of make sure that you are somewhere where you can actually talk with us. That's really, really helpful. So make sure that you're close to somewhere that you could talk with us. Audra, let's go ahead and go with you. So Audra, just be ready to sort of talk with us. So let's go ahead and talk with Audra. How are you today? Good to have you on with us. We're going to switch you over to invite you up here. And also just send in any of your questions, things you'd like me to answer. Okay, Audra, we're going to go ahead and talk with you. So thank you to everyone. Just if you volunteer, try to be ready to talk with us and to be able to share all of that information with us. Oh gosh, golly, just got to love it. Some days are just like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get your video, camera, the whole 9 yards here and talk with you. Okay, Audra, how are you? Make sure to unmute yourself. Your background is beautiful. You're a natural on here.
I'm fine. I'm well.
Okay, tell us, have you ever had high blood pressure, anything going on with the heart? Tell us a little bit about that.
I don't have anything that's prognostic.
Okay.
Mine is extreme, particularly right now, extreme broken heart and just dealing with heart matters.
Oh, well, that's just as good. I mean, it's all, but not that your heart is healthy, of course, but you can feel it, right? You can feel heartbreak within your heart, right? When somebody has broken your heart, you actually get this aching in your chest. So we can become aware of that energetic information, how much it affects the heart.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's do something wonderful here. Let's work with you. Let's go ahead and have you record your voice. So in just a moment, I'm going to have you say your name and then the AEIOU.
Okay.
You okay?
I was just grabbing my glasses.
Okay, no problem. And I'll start recording you saying your name and the vowels in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
AEIOU, Audra Woodley. AEIOU, Audra Woodley. AEIOU, Audra Woodley.
Okay, absolutely perfect. You did fantastic. I'm gonna take your picture in just a moment. And how long have you had your Genius for?
Actually, I would say about 15, 16 months now.
Wonderful. And how are things going with it?
I absolutely love it. I love it. I mean, I do the assessments on myself most days and have just been, working with other clients and they love it.
That's really fantastic. Has there been anything that has sort of stood? Let's have you take your picture and we'll just focus on that for a moment. Go ahead and quick smile for you. Beautiful. Okay. Fantastic. I always like to get a good picture in there. All right. So now tell us a little bit about, has anybody said anything in response to the experience that they've had?
Yes, I had one person who we did an assessment and immediately apparently she was having some domestic issues and it led to a tumultuous situation just that same evening and resulted in unfortunately some physical interaction and she left. It was almost as if the energy was felt because the guy had actually come into the room while she was doing the assessment and immediately left the home.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
So the whole
yeah,
energy had changed in a way that he no longer wanted to engage anymore.
right. Yeah, it was pretty deep.
That is very deep. And so that probably is a lot of the ways that you would work with people really well, is maybe like this sort of this emotional transformation pieces, helping them to shift their energy and sort of their point of attraction.
Absolutely. Yes. And
Very
just having
cool.
my own experiences with that. So yeah, it makes it very easy to, work with people because they feel very comfortable in that you're knowledgeable.
Wonderful. Well, I know that you're making a big difference in that person's life and then in the life of others. So that's actually really, really cool.
Mhm.
Very, very good. Okay. I am going to look at your scan and I will give you some comments and so forth. So let me work my magic and we'll come back and we'll talk with you in just a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Audra, thank you. It's so nice to have you joining us here for the class, and thank you for volunteering. All right, so let's start off with the aura. So when you start off your session, always great to start off with the aura. You want to get a sense of how this is, where the person is. And this is a great way to introduce people to the genius as well, is just have an online or an in-person get together and say, hey, let's look at your aura. Let's run a couple of frequencies and let's look at the aura that what happens afterwards. All right, couple of questions coming in. So what about blood clots in the legs, paralyzing pain in the middle of the night? That's all circulatory issues. So those are ways, everything in the body is a communication. And so when we don't have the right heart rhythm, we have pain in the legs, we have blood clots in the legs, right? These are all issues with the energetic system. These are all issues that we can use frequencies to harmonize, but yeah, blood clots in the legs, that means not enough oxygen is getting to those legs. And sometimes you can really look at people when you're out and about, and an examination of the skin is really interesting. For example, if some people have very cold hands and feet to the touch, right? That means that circulation of the body, right, from the center of the body, there's not enough activity of the circulation to reach out to the periphery. So, and any actually, any little things that you see on the skin, whether it be little, we call them strawberry hemangiomas or the telangiectasias, the breakages of the skin, this can often tell us issues that are emerging in the circulatory or heart system that we're not aware of, but are starting to. The aura, what does it communicate to you right away? To me, what I see is there's a dark cloud overhead. So there's a dark cloud overhead, and that is affecting, could be the heart break, the heart issue that she's dealing with. So not everything on the genius is completely literal, like we have to imbue it with some meaning. What we want to do is help her by clearing the energy field, bringing it into more harmony, bringing it into more coherence. And it's really great for us to work on each other. Like when you're in this state of a broken heart, it's hard for you to work on yourself. And so it's wonderful to have a buddy or to go and get a genius session yourself and get the support, which we're going to do for her today. Okay, Loida, maybe you can just check and see if you have your microphone and camera when none of those things were coming on before. I do love you, my dear, and we certainly want to help you in any way that we can. Okay, so Nanette says, I was wondering if I could put frequencies in a silicone soap saver. Would I transfer the energy into the soap bar or liquid soap? I don't really know what a silicone soap saver is per se, but anything you put on that plate will be affected by frequencies. So if you're just doing a container and then you're going to put the soap in later, I would say work on the soap itself, right? Or work on the soap being in the container. My brother had a heart transplant in January, still in the ICU. 2 days after his heart transplant, his kidney stopped working and he's on dialysis. So Joanne, our hearts go out to you. But even as you're writing that, start to think to yourself, just get a pen and paper. Wow, I should work on heart frequencies. I should work on kidney frequencies. I should work on the circulatory system. I should work on the lymphatic system. All of those things. I should send the solfeggios. I should send the nogiates. So we want to teach you how to think about the different frequencies that could be beneficial for the situation. It's like you think you want to be a director of energy. Where would you naturally direct the energy? Now, we can't say we heal or cure anything. We don't know the ultimate upshot of how that person will receive the frequencies, but it makes sense that you want to work on frequencies like about the kidneys, frequencies about the heart, things like that. So that's what you would do. And then just keep, your intentions, something magical happens. We could do a whole course about your intentions, your thoughts and your words. They're all extremely powerful. They're so powerful that we don't even have a fraction of a perception of how powerful our words are, how powerful our intentions are. And my point is that when you combine it with the genius, there is a synergistic and exponentially powerful partnership. So as you send energy, and it wouldn't be the worried energy, it would be the everything is turning out right. He's turning the corner. This is miraculously helping him to get better. Something about this is reaching him. I see him getting well. It's that positive intention combined with the genius frequencies that, in my experience of observing all of our practitioners, really gets the best results. So your intention is powerful and important. So Nanette, so the soap dish, you want to really do the soap, right? That's the better thing to do. But put frequencies everywhere. Put frequencies into your water, your coffee, your breakfast, whatever it is. Always imbue it with frequencies because you have a rare tool to be able to imprint these frequencies into so many things. Gigi says, I have a water harmonizer app and I don't really know how to use it. Can we get a class on the how to? We have lots of videos on the water harmonizer. And yeah, maybe next time we can just start the class with the water harmonizer. Very, very easy app to use. You push one button, you press play for water harmonizer, and that's it. There isn't too much to tell about it, Gigi, but typically when we send out our welcome letter, we send you all instructional videos. If you never received that, then send me an email and we can send you the instructional video, but I'll be happy to start the class next week with the water harmonizer. You push one button and it plays fractal images that structure water. So it's pretty easy to utilize, but we can definitely cover it. Okay, so I don't see too many questions here. Lorraine says there seems to be a lot of heart issues lately related to the current life situation. And I'm wondering, what is the best process for working with someone experiencing heart issues or heart attacks? So that's definitely the topic that we're talking about today for sure. So let's go over it. On the system overview, you can go to today's stress. Today's stress is in the body section. So let's go ahead and take a look. We've got blood sugar, inflammation, environmental, infection, and there's the cardiovascular. So cardiovascular does not come up. Now, she said this is not a physical heart issue, but we do have blood sugar, and blood sugar is related to the heart health because if blood sugar were to become an issue, that would affect the actual vessel of the heart, we would get something called glycosylation, and that can ultimately affect the blood itself. And from affecting the blood, it can affect the blood vessels or the endothelium. Inflammation, that can definitely affect the circulatory system. Environmental and infection, heavy metal toxicity, and connective tissue. I'm just looking at things that are about over 600 or under 200. So now we have those. And we're going to look at body systems. So then we have a question. Is there a free app I can download for cancer? Gigi, you have everything that you need for sure. You know, like we definitely have frequencies that people can work through different cancer issues. But remember, everything on the Genius creates coherence and it creates order. So you have an amazing tool in the palm of your hands just with what you currently have. So just run the reds and blues for the person and send your intention for miraculous healing. And you will get a message from that person that says, what, did you do something for me today? I feel different. So the medical model is really interesting. So let's just pause and let's slow down and look at that. The medical model, if you think about it, are you aware that in the early part of the 20th century, we in the United States, we had homeopathic schools, we had naturopathic schools, we had a lot of women who were met these homeopathic and herbal schools. And around the time, I think it was 1920, 1930s, there was a report issued called the Flexner Report. And you should really look into this. This was the report that started to say that there was one way to practice medicine, the allopathic way, and all other ways were illegitimate. They were quacks, and all the homeopathic schools were shut down, and all the naturopathic schools were shut down. And so we have adopted a paradigm which tells us there's a diagnosis. Why do we need to call something a diagnosis? Because then if we have a problem, we can present you with a solution. And so in this new paradigm, every blood pressure, every high cholesterol, every depression will have a diagnosis. They even have an ICD-9 or an ICD-10 code, even though people are so multifactorial and different. And then we're going to have this one singular solution. And so once we get your diagnosis, we can now sell you, through your insurance company, the singular solution to your problem. And so we get our mental processes thinking, well, if it's a headache, then I need this particular solution. If it's a migraine, I need this particular solution. If it's a cancer, if it's a kidney transplant, if it's a heart transplant, I need this particular solution. But you hold the solution in the palm of your hands, which is to send the healing frequencies around that particular issue that might help in general. So there's no frequency on the Genius that couldn't potentially help with every single thing that you're facing. So if you're scared, frightened, want to help somebody, something as easy as taking all 9 solfeggios and putting them up in the QuickSap for something that's stage 4 cancer could potentially be just as powerful as any other frequency. So I really want you to get that, because no matter what you're sick with and what diagnosis we call it, your energy is disordered in some way. How do we bring the energy back to order? Your body is a self-organizing system, just like nature. If you go out into the forest, they're not doing chemotherapy in the forest. Every day, the trees are finding balance, redirecting themselves. Something is breaking down, something is building up. You are of that same material. You are a self-organizing system. When your body is diseased, it's the most unnatural state for your body. So we need to remove any blockages to restore you to the self-organizing system. By entraining frequencies like those of the Genius, your body tunes into the self-organizing system again. Your body's able to tap into it and align with it. So don't worry about the disease. Don't stress about it. You could learn more about it and direct certain frequencies, but any frequency that you choose. Do the basic process number 1. Put all 9 solfeggios in the QuickSap. Put all the Nogiers in the QuickSap and hit play. and just keep sending that person good intention and prayers. Get 2 other people that are in the Facebook group to do that with you. And now you have the power of 3 people. It's going to increase exponentially, and you're going to have even more of a result. The truth is that miracles happen with the genius each and every day. And we share them in the Facebook group, share them on the summits. And that person didn't need to go to all those years of medical school, but their intention and their frequencies and the genius itself, they all came together to elicit a miraculous healing. With that in mind, let's keep focused on the heart and circulatory system, just for our own didactic understanding, a better understanding of the body and understanding of our power of this particular focus. So when we go to the body systems, it has a circulatory frequency. Now, remember that these frequencies that are in the system overview were really, really well planned, right, by the developer. He put something like 15 to 20 frequencies into each of these frequencies that you see. So when you're looking at this, let's see if we can get their magical spotlight here. Circulatory is going to be some combination of heart frequencies, maybe minerals, maybe coenzyme Q10. There's a whole bunch of frequencies that are in there. So if we take circulatory system and we just put it up in the quick zap, we're so tired, we don't know what else to do. Let's just take circulatory and put it up into the quick zap and just play that. That is going to facilitate more flow, more harmony in the flow, in the vortices, in the electrical system, allowing the blood to reach different parts of the body, right? So it's going to be wonderful for harmonizing the energy of the circulatory system. Now, if we wanted to get just a little bit fancy, we could keep that frequency in there, but then let's go to the solfeggio frequencies and let's just add all 9 of the solfeggio frequencies. To do that, we simply go to the bulk items drag and go red, yellow, green, blue, and then all of those, red, yellow, green, and blue. Now we have all 9 of the solfeggios in there, and then that would be powerful. So as you're worrying about somebody who has a very, we said, supraventricular tachycardia, that type of thing, something very, very complex. So whoever said the supraventricular tachycardia arrhythmia, just do this. Just take circulatory, put all 9 solfeggios, hit the play button, put it into water, drink the water, use your intention, send it remotely, put it in a capsule. It could be that easy. Doesn't have to be super complex. If you wanted to make it even more elegant, you could go to your sacred geometry. Keep hitting the same button. You can go to your sacred geometry and now pull up the toroids. So let's go ahead and look at that toroidal field. So now we've got 11 items in there. We've got circulatory, and we're working on harmonizing that toroidal field and all the solfeggios even better. So it can be as simple as that. You're an energetic director. What are the frequencies that you like to move that energy? So we talked about today's stress. We talked about the body systems. What else could we utilize? If we go to minerals, there are 2 really important minerals. There's, we can work down in the quick zap too. There's magnesium, which is definitely coming up for Audra. And there is potassium. Now, the great thing about the genius is that with minerals, that we'll just energetically take what we like and leave the rest. So we're not going to overdo anything. Magnesium is an incredible mineral for helping to regulate the rhythm of the heart. So if you have somebody with high blood pressure, arrhythmia, whatever it might be, it's entirely possible that these issues are due to a massive magnesium deficiency in the soil and then in the diet. And if people have coffee, tea, as a diuretic, they're going to lose more minerals. So in Germany, the 2 top interventions for high blood pressure, potassium and magnesium. They use the nutritional intervention first before they use any type of medication. So to the mix, we would add the energetics of potassium, the energetics of magnesium. Then we could go to some vitamins, niacin. Now be careful taking niacin, but niacin is incredible for detoxing the body and detoxing the liver. A great doctor once said that having high cholesterol is a sign that the body is being exposed to too many toxins. High cholesterol is a sign that the body is being exposed to too many toxins. Why is that? That is because your cholesterol is the regulation of fat in the body, and that regulation is done, the fatty acids are regulated by the liver. And if the liver is out of balance or toxic, then it is going to elevate those fats because it's holding on to toxins. The toxins rest in the fat tissue. When you get exposed to mercury, it goes out of the blood and into the adipose tissue. So when the body is holding on to too many toxins, because it's migrated into the fat, into the adipose tissue, it is often going to be shown by an elevation of cholesterol. In order to regulate your cholesterol, you want to make your liver work better. Dandelion, bupleurum, milk thistle, dandelion, burdock, all of the different herbs that can be used for the liver. Do some type of a liver cleanse, get off of meat and dairy and eggs for a while, get more fiber in your diet. That will help your liver to work better. And when your liver works better, the cholesterol will go down. But niacin is really good at cleansing the liver. And as such, it can be really good for reducing cholesterol. So now let's go to some of the libraries related just to the heart. And we even have one for healing a broken heart. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. We've got the Broken Heart Healing Program. So let's go ahead and look at this particularly for Audra, if I can speak. Change is facilitated 417 hertz. I'm ready for new beginnings. Transformation 528 hertz. Harmony and unity 1 hertz. Easy to problem solve. I see the solution 40 hertz. So these are different Rife frequencies. So you can get a Rife resource book and look for the different frequencies that you want to entrain, take into your field in order to create the effect that you want. You're a walking magician. You have so much power. You have so many things that you know how to do, both with your intention, but also we can avail these frequencies, because think of your frequencies as like a nutritional supplement or like an herb. You're now intentionally exposing yourself and bringing in and training the particular frequency. And there is research to show that certain frequencies do certain things. That's why we have like the Rife machine, and you're running the Rife machine on all the frequencies in order to evoke that certain change within you. So these are similar, to have a change where you see the solution, we're going to run the 40 hertz. Vortex of the heart heals. I am courageous. Unconditional love, 852 hertz. Love has perfect timing. I'm courageous, releasing the past. Ignatia is a homeopathic for grief. Chestahedron. Go ahead and you can look online. Frank Chester actually visualized in his artwork the vortex, how the geometry of the heart would look if we visualize the vortex of the heart itself. And he made it into a sacred geometrical structure called the chestahedron. You can look online and you can see that visualized. Post-traumatic stress release, reset the energy and feel renewed. I'm lovable. I think one of the biggest solutions to all life's issues is for each and every one of us to know how deserving of love we are. And that not feeling worthy or deserving of love leads to a whole host of different issues, probably from, having a bad day to war, who knows. 639 hertz, improve relationships. Okay to experience emotions, general aid for balancing emotions. 6,000 hertz, restore a sense of well-being, create a state of relaxation. Love is everywhere. The awareness that the world is filled with love. And I'm just going to pick this one up at 222. I give myself permission to be happy again. So we have one just for the heart. And then we have the heart anatomy. So the inside of the heart, the right atrium. Now, when we read these, we don't read them as actual frequencies. So we don't read them like there's not actually a valve issue per se, but it could be emerging. There could be a little bit of discordance, a little bit of an issue within the valve, and the genius is going to pick it up, but it doesn't mean it's a physical issue. It means the best thing for you to do today would be to run that frequency in order to harmonize it and clear it. So don't confuse those two things. The Purkinje fibers are part of the electrical system. Valve issue due to the jaw. We have so many things going on with our neck because of the screens and our jaw. And so jaw misalignment can lead to a whole series of heart or valve issues. So it's always good to maybe get some craniosacral therapy, have somebody look at the jaw, make sure you're not grinding the teeth or you don't have TMJ. Okay, let's go ahead and let's look at heart assessment. Now, the valve issue comes up again. So this might be something that's 20 years down the road for her. We don't know. It's telling us that there's a wave of different energies that are circling around a pattern that says it could manifest in the future. But the best thing to do is to run the frequency. Heart, and she may want to look at this and say, hey, maybe I want to do heart math or something where I do meditation where I can sort of change the energy around the heart. That could be really powerful too. Heavy metal toxicity, potassium deficiency. That's really interesting. A lot of us don't get enough potassium. Potassium is best gotten through green leafy vegetables, green juices. Banana is sort of the overstated. It's got not that much potassium and a lot more sugar. Not that it's bad, but it's not our number one go-to for potassium. The other one that's really interesting is coenzyme Q10, right? Coenzyme Q10 is a great nutrition for the heart. Your mitochondria all over your body use coenzyme Q10 every day. It's not a bad idea to take some coenzyme Q10. If you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, you're probably going to get all the coenzyme Q10 that you need, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to take it. It would be one of the most worthy things to take as a supplement or to entrain as a frequency on a daily basis because it's so instrumental to the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the heart, and the heart has the most mitochondria because it's constantly working, right? Somebody once said it's the most selfless servant of our body, never takes a break, right? You don't want your heart to go on a coffee break or anything, right? You need it to be running day and night, 24/7. It's a miracle that it does. So coenzyme Q10 deficiency, the interesting thing about that is that the cholesterol medications tend to deplete coenzyme Q10, which is the very enzyme or constituent that you need to maintain the health of the heart. So one time, Julian Whitaker, who writes a lot about natural health, and he's an MD, a holistic MD, and he was advocating all of the pharmaceutical companies saying, hey, I know you have this cholesterol medication. I know you're not going to stop producing it at any time. Could you at least put something in the insert that says, you know what, this medication depletes your coenzyme Q10, at least take coenzyme Q10 as a supplement, but guess what? They wouldn't do it. So just something to think about and be aware of. Okay, do we push those bananas in nursing school for potassium? Not a bad thing. I mean, at least you got some fruits and vegetables in there, but green, just if you want the maximum bang for your buck, or you can make a green smoothie, both with the greens and the bananas to sweeten it up. Broken heart residual effect. There you go. That's what she said. So there's something emanating or something matching up that the genius is showing that broken heart, which is amazing. That's not something you could really do medically, right? We've got the frequencies, affirmations. This is something that's really interesting. You can use affirmations to really change the physicality of the body. So what is the difference between CoQ10 and ubiquinol? Valerie, that would be a great topic and be a really just a great sort of side video to talk about all of the ubiquinol, which it's generally agreed that the ubiquinol is the most active and available coenzyme Q10. Do you have frequencies to help with low blood pressure? So send me a message, Danelle, and we can look at it. But again, you want to think about what is causing the low blood pressure. Is it an adrenal function? So maybe you want to work on the adrenals. So really, really think about everything you know about low blood pressure. And you can send a message and I can talk with you about it more. Lisa asks, is the square or sine wave best for the heart? So that's a very good question. Let's talk about this, and we're just going to get to the frequency, shape, and form in just a moment. The musculature of my heart is contracting healthfully. I approach life from a loving perspective. I allow for the optimal flow and circulation, right, in my body. All my vessels are clear and healthy. I now bring all physical functions into alignment of my heart, and my vortex system is functioning properly. So really interesting. So you always want to look at what are the affirmations coming up for the person. And then metaphysical, reconnecting with the healing power of love, expand the toroidal field and benefit from the coherent heart wave. So meditation sounds boring, or long walks in nature. That would be really good. And maybe the heart math system, which teaches to work with the heart rate variability. Then we've got heart health frequencies, physical, electrical aspects of the heart are functioning well, systole and diastole in perfect rhythm. That has to do with the closing of the valves. Let's see if there's anything else that's interesting. We have the heart and circulation optimization program. So we're going to look at these in just a moment, and then we'll sort of bring everything together. But let's go ahead and look at that frequency, shape, and form. So what Lisa Lowe was asking about, oh my goodness, did I just freeze there? Okay, thanks everyone for hanging out. And let's go ahead and get this party started again real quickly. So we want to finish up our wonderful, with our wonderful case that we're working on. So we're just going to bring that genius right back up to where it was. And I was in mid-sentence, so hopefully you got a little bit of a water break, got a bathroom break, and you're back. I love it. And it was just our computer completely froze. And so we had to just jump back on. So let's go ahead and keep the energy flowing here. I'm not going to even miss a beat. We were actually talking about Lisa's question about the sine and square wave, and it's a really important consideration. I typically keep my genius on an alternating function. And so on the alternating function, you can actually see that you can do square, sawtooth, square, or sine. So on the sine wave, that is a wave that helps to connect someone to the physiological function of their body. So in the sine wave, that would be the best thing if you're trying to normalize some type of physiological function. It's always been our idea with the alternating that it keeps the energy system interested and doesn't over adapt to any particular system. With that, we're going to go ahead and take our heart and circulation frequencies and put them into the tray. Blood pressure normalizing, vasomotion achieves optimal function. And let's go ahead, and we've got all these. We can just do the drag and drop for the blue items. So there's a lot of heart things that are coming up. And again, it could be that emotional connection as well. Let's go ahead and grab the flower essences. So let's go ahead and go to the Bach flower essences and grab those as well. And let's go ahead and go to the last screen here and let's see what comes up. All right, so we still got Audra here as well. So the number one thing that comes up is the endothelium to now repair and heal. And the broken heart residual effect really comes up at the very, very tippy top. Let's see what else is here. Oxygen becomes available to cells to thrive. The life has perfect timing. Love is everywhere. Heart stem cells. Okay to experience emotions. Niacin for liver detox. Unconditional love. Magnesium. L-arginine, heavy metal toxicity, cardiovascular, and inflammation to clear. And let's go ahead and run that for a minute. And then we'll see what the change in the aura is. And then we'll go ahead and we'll check in with Audra. Okay, so that's great. And, oh, okay, you have until 1:10. So let's go ahead and check in with Audra because we want to actually wrap everything up. So Audra, let's go ahead and check in with you. And we're almost done here, but any thoughts from anything that came up?
I am not surprised by any of it. I mean, really, it's dead on.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, thank you. Thank you for volunteering. And it's really fun to look at the emotional aspects that impact the heart as well. Like that's just really, really, important to address.
It really is, and I enjoyed all of the various elements and categories that you use to pull into this. That you don't necessarily have to focus on everything that's a high and a low or high,
Right.
as opposed to what synergetic things are all cohesive and a joined together. Majorly, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Since you responded really well to that minute of balancing, I just did a quick rescan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
55%.
and yes, and just really wonderful about improving relationships and expanding your heart field. And so there's lots and lots of good things that can be done here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I know that you are going to have to go from your lunch break, and I wanted to make sure that I talked to you before you had to hop off the class. And I'm going to show in just a moment what your aura looks like. It was interesting, the beginning aura, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. No, I wasn't surprised. I ran an aura on mine. It had the green and the grays as well, but the gray was off to the side like a bar, and the green, was in the far left area. Whereas
so that green,
yours
so when the
showed it
so the
hovering.
green was coming
Yours
into
showed
your field, yeah.
It was coming in. Yeah, it was all green and gray. And yours was all green and gray, but more gray that was hovering.
Oh, so
So
it was
that was
very
interesting.
similar on yours. That's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, no aura is going to ever be the same on any particular device, but that's interesting that you saw the similarities. Here was our starting one. And let's see what our current aura looks like.
Oh, I need some clarity. Clearance. Oh,
and let's see as we wind this up.
Okay.
Well, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yes.
Look at all the pink. Look at all the pink starting to fill your aura. I'm going to do some frequencies after our class has ended. I'm going to run some solfeggios for you of sort of what we talked about, the circulatory, the solfeggios, and that toroidal field. But here's the before and here's the after. So you're ready to move into this new energy. You're just saying, bring it on.
Absolutely.
I am ready.
Yeah. Yeah. In actuality, I mean, I know kind of what it is that I'm dealing with. And it's a matter of I have learned to accept any feelings and to move through all of that, that it's an energetic process and you have to give it time in order for you to receive proper healing. So, even though I'm dealing with it, I'm okay with it.
That's wonderful, Audra. Well, that's fantastic. And I look forward to hearing more about how your practice is progressing. You're doing absolutely fantastic. So thank you. Thank you for being part of our
Okay.
Genius
Thank you.
community.
Thank you so much. Is this posted?
Yes, it's on YouTube now, and we're going to post it to the blog as well. So you'll be able to find it in multiple places.
Okay, thank you. I have to go. I have a meeting. All right, guys. Happy healing, everyone.
Thank you, Audra. Thank you so much. Fantastic. I love that we have our volunteers, that people can come on and have our scan. We're really just about ready to launch our Genius Biofeedback practitioners website. So between now and next week, I'll be talking to everybody more about that. But we're going to be asking people be able to list their practice, and you can also reach out to other practitioners that way, as well as in our Facebook group. There's never anything wrong with connecting with people on that Facebook group and saying, hey, do you want to exchange a session, a buddy, somebody to reflect to you is always really, really helpful. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for hanging in there, even though we had a little bit of a glitch. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you back here next week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.